So what is biomagnetism, or how do we use magnetic forces in order to benefit our health? Well, we know that ancient civilizations were already aware of the power of magnets and its impact, their impact on our bodies. And so in ancient China, we find examples. In ancient Egypt, we find examples. Cleopatra is said to have owned a magic magnetic stone, which she applied on her forehead to preserve beauty. And so there are many examples. And in the medieval era, we have Paracelsus, who had quite developed theories on the use of magnets to benefit our health. And in the 20th century, there's this doctor named Barry Meyer. Dr. Barry Meyer was called by NASA to treat astronauts who were returning from space travels, suffering from a shortened right side of their bodies. And so he figured that they might be suffering from some kind of magnetic deficiency. And so he began applying magnets in an attempt to fix this condition. And he did. So his findings, he taught. And in the 80s, a Mexican doctor named Isaac Goiz Duran, he attended one of his seminars. And he was quite fascinated by what he learned there. And he took what he had learned and he began thinking, he began applying. Because Dr. Barry Meyer had made some important discoveries, but he didn't really have a method. So his theories, were quite confined to A or B, and he applied what he had developed, but sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. But this Mexican doctor, Isaac Goiz, one good day received this patient at his practice, and he offered the patient to try this out, to try this therapy. And the patient agreed, and what he did to begin with, he took a magnet, a negative polarity magnet, and he began, to trace it around the patient's body, to find that in contact with a particular part of his body, that part of his body alone, his right leg appeared to be shorter. So his right hemisphere, his right side of his body shortened. And at this point, he could have just applied what he had learned from Barry Meyer. He could have just turned the magnet over and hoped for the best. But he didn't. He went a little bit further and he thought, what if I find another area in his body where, when applying the opposite magnetic force, something might happen. In other words, will his leg return to normal length? And so he did all of it. He found the place, he applied the magnet, his leg, the patient's leg, returned to normal length, and the patient healed. So obviously he had found something really valuable, and he dedicated all his life to develop his theory. What he found was that a single microorganism by itself can be quite harmless, but it is only when it connects, as it were, it establishes a symbiotic relationship with another microorganism of different nature, that then serious problems can actually develop. So you have one area and you have another area of a body where the pH, the natural, normal, neutral pH, has been distorted due to the presence of the microorganisms. One is too acidic and the other one is too alkaline. That depends on the nature of the pathogens. And when you deactivate both by applying the right magnetic forces, north or south, positive or negative, then the pH returns to normal and balance is then again achieved. In short, this is how the biomagnetic pair works. There are other forms of magnetic therapy. They are different, but this is how the biomagnetic pair therapy works. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.